All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Family Finance Friday with DJ the Money Coach and Nick Westbrooks. And this show is brought to you by the DJ the Money Coach team and the 7 Spheres of Money system. And before we board the plane and embark on tonight's journey to our beach, hit the like button, share with at least 5 people. And if you're not subscribed to DJ the Money Coach on YouTube, hit that subscribe button so you can help us spread the message and the good news of the Pom Pom lifestyle movement, which is plenty of money and peace of mind. And we invite you to come join us on the beaches of the World Club 7 days a week, 365 days a year. But each and every Friday, we go to our beach. And tonight's beach is a man's role in building a business empire, raising children, and love. But before we get into that, let me talk to my man DJ. DJ, how you doing tonight on this Friday?
What's up, Nick? As I always say, any day above ground with your health is an exceptional day. And today, the sun shines and it's exceptional and the health is great, brother. So we are blessed and we're glad and grateful to be here. So we cannot be more excited. It's been a wonderful week, man. We've had a lot of great things happen. And today's topic was a topic that just been thinking about the whole week, what the role is and building an empire, raising children and loving those people who are most important to you unconditionally. And love is not, just in affection. Love is in work. Love is in commitment. Love is in support. So I'm excited, man. It's a great day. It's cool in the shade, 90 something degrees. We got the Little League World Series happening and everything. So these are some of the best 2 weeks of the summer for me personally, because I love the Little League World Series and I love all the things that's happening, man. We're excited, man. And, I just got me some new gear, as we can see right here, ladies and gentlemen, not all hood, baby. Check it out. You know me. I don't endorse anything that I don't believe in, that we don't have equity and ownership. But this is, special. We do have, spiritually equity and ownership in this enterprise. And we want to continue to tell them to keep their flag up and keep marching to the top of Mount Everest, albeit that their leader is no longer with us, is now an ancestor. But the best way to show our support and to keep moving forward is to continue the platform. So let me make this rest assured that the man's role in building a business empire has a lot to do with not all hood. So why don't you guys tune into that amazing show and support it? They actually just started running a couple of episodes about people showing their appreciation for Malcolm Jamal Warner and what he meant to them and how he impacted their lives. And hopefully that would encourage them to continue the podcast, which I believe they are. And the one way we can do that is by investing into the community without any strings attached. Okay. I get no remunerations or anything. They don't even know me over there, but we are united as one. As it pertains to, raising children. I don't know about, most people, but I can only speak about myself and where I am currently, just having got back from Zanzibar, taking my 2 daughters over to Zanzibar was an amazing experience. It just tapped into the importance of legacy. It tapped into the importance of the big picture. It tapped into the importance of humility and love in reference to what your expectations are of as a father, as a man, as how you raise daughters the right way. We got so many people going off the rails nowadays that it's now becoming, the exception to the rule as raising somebody traditionally the right way with God, man, woman, and child. And what's so important, ladies and gentlemen, is that you have to understand, like it or not, God has authority over man. God bequeaths authority to the man over woman. God bequeaths authority from the man to the woman over child, and everything else comes after that. That's the actual principle, that the way God lines it up. And anything adverse to that, you're out of order of, obedience. So what we strive to do is to stay as obedient as we possibly can. And all of these tie into finances at the end of the day. If you're not lining up with God and you are, a beneficiary of wealth, riches, significant income, and you're disobedient, then that stuff is going to come and go. So one of the most important things for us to do is to know what our role is in this stage of our lives. So right now, for us, as it pertains to you and me, we're in the, success, significant role. You're in the success role. I'm in the significant role. So I've already maturated from struggle to success, and now wearing, the man, what should I say? Wearing the uniform of significance and understanding the importance of it, the responsibility, the duties of it, and at the same time sharing the examples to you who are now in your success phase of your life. I mean, you're doing extremely great work in the school system. You're, working towards your tenure, and those things are important because you're investing right back into the community. And so as a man, you're building an empire. And empire does not necessarily mean, ladies and gentlemen, money. So I think today, no, I don't think. Let me recant what I was about to say. I know. KNOW. These things I know, ladies and gentlemen, as being DJ the Money Coach for a quarter of a century, as being DJ the Money Coach on this planet by God's grace for 5.5 decades. There's things I know now. I don't have to think about them. I don't have to hope for them. I know because I have experienced them. So what I do know, there are proper ways to build legacy. And I know that money is not the end and be all of everything. I know that from an empire standpoint, it's about building family, having peace and prosperity, and serving your community. And I know that the first and most important community is the community of one. That community of one is the name on the back of my jersey that was bequeathed to me by my father, that was bequeathed to him by his father, that was bequeathed to him by my father's father's father. So when you automatically see this title that says empire, you automatically think about physical wealth, domination over people. And that's not what a peaceful and compassionate empire is really about. It's about taking care of family, providing a guideline, raising your children with your morals, your ethics, and your principles, regardless of what society is telling you to do. And then emulating what real love is. So what we think in today's world, that love is a physical thing. It's a touch, hold, kiss, tell you great things, lift you up. But love is work. Love is commitment. Love is persistence. Love is discipline. Love is empathy, understanding. Love is accountability. And love is having the ability to make the right choices when they're not popular. Love is the platform that even if I know I'm right about something and you may be incorrect, I don't have to express to you, this is my truth. That's why I'm going to tell you, even though it's not diplomatic or prudent for you to just tell somebody because you know better. So sometimes it's be quiet, let that person express their, perspective, and then let them come to understand what they may have or may not done correctly in that moment without being harsh towards them. That's real love. That's the kind of love that a parent provides to a child. It's like they say, that old saying, Nick, hey, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Meaning if the bathwater, you clean the baby, now the water is dirty and you want to pour the water out, so you want to get rid of the baby as well. No, you don't do that. You say, hey, let them grow, let them learn, and let them see through your actions how things should be done, and also being transparent with them. Whereas when you're building the empire from a business standpoint, you're letting them know why you're building the business and what is the purpose of the business. And the purpose of the business is to provide provisions, security, stability, and full autonomy. So all these things this week have come into full manifestation from months of work, Nick. Literally months and months of work. What do I mean by that? For instance, in a business, in the economy contracts, you may automatically think that, hey, my business is going to contract because the whole economy is contracting. That's not always necessarily true, because when things are going down, other things are going up. You just got to make sure you're on the right elevator. And you have to, as they say, stay ready to be ready. So how do we do that? And how are we having a manifestation of a great week, a great month, and a great quarter if the rest of the world economy is contracting and ours is not? Well, it's like when you prepare for the harvest, right? So you plan ahead, work ahead. So when the drought season comes, you have stored up, some reserves. And so what we've had the benefit of doing is that while things were going well, we continue to work instead of play. So for our particular business, back in December, November 2024, we were putting a tremendous amount of work in, Nick. We were literally making hundreds of calls a day, hundreds of emails, hundreds of direct mails, so that we could prepare for the drought or even the harvest so it could be multiplied tenfold. Example of that. So as we were laying the foundation, tilling the soil, and may not have seen immediate returns on the investments, we had the expectations, Nick, that we knew these seeds planted in certain places would begin to sprout and grow. We knew that some of those seeds would get crushed out. We knew some of those seeds would grow and then wither away. But we knew if we spread a multitude of great seeds in a multitude of great soil and tilled it and flipped it over, appropriately, or like they say, every 7 years, flip the soil so it doesn't burn itself out. We knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, Nick, that regardless of what the economy was, that we planted the seeds in the right demographic, it was going to yield a return for us. Now, what people are probably saying, well, what do you mean by that, DJ? Well, real simple. We're in the resort business now, ladies and gentlemen. And the resort business is seasonal. And right now, guess what? It's the high season for the resort business. So in November and December, we're planting seeds so that we can get the right people to come out and check us out June, July, August, and September. But if we don't plant enough seeds, talk to enough organizations, talk to enough influencers, get the right, people around us, then even in the harvest, we can come up short. But however, if we're doing everything the right way, when the harvest season is over and it's what they call non-peak, but it's not really bad weather, which is not, we can still benefit from the reserves actually still moving us forward while other things are slowing down. And the way to do that is to have a definitive plan. give your team direction. And not only give your team direction, make sure that you're doing the work. Because if you're doing the work and you're willing to be the person cleaning the floors, washing the windows, but you want to be driving the driver's car of that Ferrari or that, Lexus, your team is not going to have a problem following you because they seen you roll up your sleeves, get out the mop in the bucket of water, wash the floors, wash the windows, and now they don't have a problem with you driving in the front seat or you driving in the back seat, and you have a driver because they know you ain't afraid to do the work. And especially when you don't have to do the work, they can appreciate it. So you don't have a problem building a culture that people will be out there working their butts off. So in the process of, as a man, it is my responsibility to always lead by example, Nick. More so with my actions than with my words. But make sure that my actions are congruent with my words. So I think there's a saying they always say, you know what? Preach what you practice. Don't practice what you preach. Okay? So as I'm building this, ecosystem in Zanzibar over the past 3.5 years, it'll be 4 years in December. Our team has seen steadiness. Sometimes we see some dips, but they see constant steadiness, just continue to move forward methodically. And then having the capacity to tell them what the future is going to look like, Nick, from what I know, from what we've done before in the past. So sometimes your past performance can be a constant predictor of your future success. So as a man who has, built, multiple, small, successful businesses, moderate businesses, I know what the ebbs and flows of our business are. I know, how to attract the right people that have high morals, high character, great integrity, and supreme work ethic to attract them to the team. I also know that in order to keep them on the team during, slow, season or dry season, they have to see that I can continue to tell them what's going to happen, do the work, and then put the right people in position to manifest the results. And then having the capacity to educate them through conferences, books, trainings, they get them prepared to handle the responsibility for them to actually succeed and become a successor for us. And that's very important. And as it pertains to raising your children, it's real simple. There's a saying, your children will do what they see you doing, not what you say. So having the ability to be in a situation where I was able to take my daughters over to Zanzibar, as, teenager and preteen, and they can see the developments with their name on it. They can see the team working extremely hard to service other people. And then the other thing is, Nick, is that having had them have the experience of being a guest, and then at the end of the trip, having them serve the team. What do I mean, ladies and gentlemen? You want to know how to keep your children humble and keep them, with their feet on the ground, even though they have been born, on third base? I made my daughters, I didn't suggest, I didn't request. I told them, this is what you're going to do. So the last week we're at the resort, I had them the last 2-3 days prepare breakfast for the crew. Clean up after the crew. Do the same things, Nick, ladies and gentlemen, that the crew was doing for us for the prior weeks. So you may have seen some videos where I'm showing our chefs and our servers coming into our suite, serving us, preparing, meals that we request to be made specifically for our palate. I allow my daughters to experience that. And then the last week I said, hey, we're getting up. We go buy the groceries and we're going to prepare the breakfast. We're going to clean up and serve the team. And you know what? My daughters did it without complaining or anything because they've been trained the proper way. Imagine if you did that for your children. Imagine if you showed them that these other people may be less fortunate, but we're no better than them, and you brought them to their level and showed them how to see the world through their lens, how you would never have a problem with a child being entitled, having an out of control ego, having arrogance. And the reason why I say that, ladies and gentlemen, is because I've been that kid. Bad attitude, arrogant, thought I was better than somebody. And as you grew up, you see how that alienated people, pushed people away. And you thought you were better just because the name on the back of your jersey or, whatever, the melanin in your skin or whatever it was at the time, you were misguided. And the parent, while allowing you to do that, they weren't doing proper parenting. Now, howbeit, my mother was a great parent, but still, even at that, at some point in time, your child is going to know the difference between right or wrong. So, as a man, my job is to put a team together. Find one high character, high moral, high integrity, great work ethic person to add to my team per year. And knowing that you're not going to build anything successful that's sustainable for a lifetime in an IG moment or an IG thread or a YouTube clip. But however, we're inundated and indoctrinated with this information that make you think that the average successful person who builds their empire does it in 2 to 5 days, 2 to 5 weeks, 2 to 5 months. It's not. And having the discipline to understand that and distill and disseminate that to your children, to your team, is so important. Very important. Another thing that's important in the capacity of if you have been in a situation where you were once, married for a couple of decades, you raised children, knowing that when children are coming into a divorce situation, that they will sensitivities arise that they may think that they're the reason that transpired, and it's not, and letting them know that they had nothing to do with that, and loving on them and understanding and always being available. One thing they say in sports, your best asset is availability. One of the most important things that when there's crossroads and, there's separation between the team, that you as a man, no matter what the woman, the wife is doing, you have to stay present. Even if it appears, ladies and gentlemen, that you're taking a loss in any capacity. The more your children see you're present and investing, even when you don't think the returns are happening, they are going to appreciate and love and cherish you more. Having the capacity to not allow them to be, come, sucked into this social media construct. Still teaching them, Nick, as an educator, to be deep thinkers. How do you do that? You know how you do that, ladies and gentlemen? When you go on an exotic vacation, working vacation, as we did, you actually have your children write book reports, read books in paradise. But you know what? You can't just start that in paradise. You had to start that model when they were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years of age, because now it's a habit. Now they're not addicted to that electronic, cell. Think about that. They call it a cell phone. A cell. Where they take bad people to a prison cell. So your mind is being trapped in a cell if you don't have the, steel backbone to stand up straight and show your children that even though everybody else is doing it, don't mean we doing it, because you know who you are internally. That's one of the great things about being a man, is that you have to be able to stand up, stand tall against the elements, the adversities, and still stand on principle. We don't see a lot of that today. But you'll be amazed at how many children crave that. I remember, Nick, when my oldest son, RBD, he was about 5, 6 years of age. And I had just moved down to this area, and I decided I was going to help out these Title I schools. So if you don't know what a Title I school is, ladies and gentlemen, it's a school in an impoverished area. They get subsidies to, help, the single parents, provide lunch, breakfast, extracurricular activities to help them have a stable environment. And then a lot of times people will come in and volunteer their time. So I, with a gentleman named Tony Sherman, we adopted a couple of elementary schools that were Title I schools. And these schools were predominantly in our neighborhoods, Nick. And most of these schools, the children, which our focus was the young boys. You had young boys that we took that were age 8 to 12. And probably 75% of them, Nick, single parents. But probably 50% of those young boys will be raised by their parents' parents. Nana, Grams, Big Mama. And of course, these young boys were being overly protected by their mama and their mama's mama. There was no man present, right? So we decided that we were going to invest in this school. And in investing in the school, we put together a little, curriculum for these kids. And we made it relatable, Nick. And this is when Cars, the movie, first came out, the animation. So that was huge, right? So we brought, the little Cars characters, Mater and all of them guys, and the car character himself. And we gave an incentive. We said, hey, here's what we want to be able to do. We want to establish 3 things in this community for these young boys. 1, we want them to be obedient. Not just obedient at home, Nick. We want to be obedient in the classroom. And we also want them to become good representatives of the school. So we gave them this incentive, Nick, that over a semester, they would earn these points. So they would get a point for being good at home, taking out the trash, cleaning their room, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, to their mother, grandparent, etc. And they would come in. We put a sticker up on the board of one of the characters. Then they would get a point if they didn't misbehave in the classroom. Then they would get a point if they got a B. So at the end of the semester, Nick, they accumulated these points. And Tony Sherman and I, we took these kids to a camp for a whole week, about 30 miles away from where they lived. And surprisingly, Nick, about 80% of these kids never been out of their neighborhood. So now we had this system, and we're working with the parent. Sometimes there were two parents in the household. I'm not saying they all were like that. And we're telling these people, hey, this is what we expect your children to rise up to, and we're going to be a support system for you if and only if you buy into this program. You stop over mommying, babying the little boy, and you start speaking to him in the right way. You don't speak to him, hey, little man. Oh, you look so cute. Oh, you so mannish. No, we stopped that language, Nick. Get away from that, because we understood that mom was using that child as a surrogate to be their boyfriend, to be their husband. It sounds sickening, but this is the reality of it, ladies and gentlemen. When you see these mothers clinging to their little son so much, they're basically using them as a surrogate, a proxy, to be their little man. Hey, Big Daddy. Correct me if I'm wrong, bro. This happens. And then you know what ends up happening, Nick? I had just got it was either a YouTube clip or IG clip showing this young black male. I'm sure you've seen this. Young black male, maybe about the 7th, 8th grade. He smacks his teacher not once, ladies and gentlemen, but twice. And she sits there, white middle-aged lady, and she allows, out of fear, this kid smacks her full open hand in an elementary school, Nick. Now, you know what the first thing that kid's parent's going to say? Oh, why are you sending, Mookie to juvie hall? But there was no man in that kid's life to tell him, hey, man, you lay hands, you talk back to these, I'm going to lay hands and talk back to you. And let me bring this full circle to show you how this ties in to a man's role in building an empire and raising children. So in this program we did at the Title I school, at the end of the accumulation of the points and everything, there may have been, because we were working with the 8 to the 12-year-olds, we only had 30 spots to take the kids to the camp, right? Might have been about 100, 200 kids. Only 30 made it to the camp, right? All we did is ask the parents, Nick. This is around like 2008, 2009. Okay? All we did, Nick, is ask the parents, ladies and gentlemen, to pay $39 to cover the bus ride, Nick. You hear me, ladies and gentlemen? We took these kids for a whole week to a private camp, provided 3 meals a day, horseback riding, fishing, hunting, basketball, football. All we asked the parents, Nick, $39 to cover the bus ride there and the bus ride back. Do you know, Nick, that a third of the people were complaining about having to pay the $39? And the first thing that they was, hey, yeah, we can't afford this one. What y'all gonna pick it up? Those same people, kids, Nick, we get to the camp. They start pulling out their clothes and stuff, Nick. I remember this just like it was yesterday, bro. Each one of these little boys had about 2, 3, 4 pairs of custom gym shoes. Jordans, Kobe's, bronze, whatever they were. I'm talking about 3, 4. I remember this one kid, he had like 6 pairs. And his parents didn't want to pay the $39. Now, inside the camp, we raised the bar of accountability. So we took our spin of the Boy Scout model and we say we're going to honor some Indians, chiefs, Eagle Scouts, things of that nature, right? So since it's 7 days, 6 nights at this amazing camp, we gave them assignments, Nick. You're going to eat breakfast. You're going to clean up your table. You're going to sweep the floors. You're going to mop. We're going to play outside on the campgrounds. You're going to pick up the garbage and stuff like that. So again, as we did for the school, ladies and gentlemen, we gave them points. Good behavior, this, that, and other. So it's 30 people. We're only giving out 10 of these awards at the end of the camp. So, you know, you got the kids. You always got the 1 or 2 kids going to show that they can, you know, oh man, I'm the badass. Now, mind you, Tony Sherman, who's no longer here with us, he's an ancestor. God bless his soul, because he did a lot for us. Tony Sherman's about 20 years older than me. This is his baby. I'm financially supporting it, and I'm participating in it, right? And we got a couple other people volunteers, but I'm financing the whole thing, right? So you get a couple of kids. We're about 2-3 days into the camp. I got to go, whatever I'm doing, fishing, or we go off and do some hunting or whatever we were doing with a group of kids. We come back a couple hours later. Here it is. Remember I tell you the scenario with the little boy smacked the teacher? We got a kid. He's a big kid. He's 12 years old, but he's like 6'1". He wants to try to jump on Mr. Sherman, because Mr. Sherman asked him to pick up the trash on the basketball court that he was drinking water or Gatorade. He just kept trash can right by the basket, and then he want to keep just throwing it in the grass. I'm rolling back in on the little cart or whatever. Little group run around. This dude is trying to hit and jump on Mr. Sherman. Mr. Sherman is stepping back. Don't want to put no hands on him because Mr. Sherman is worried about going to jail. You know what I did? I walked right up to that kid. I said, guess what's going to happen here, son? You got two ways it's going to turn out. Number 1, you can pick up that trash, apologize to Mr. Sherman real quickly. Or number 2, I can beat your ass. And I said, when I beat your ass, I'm going to call your parents and have them come up here when I beat your ass. Pardon my French, ladies and gentlemen. I said, because you're not going to sit up here and jump on this man that's making your life better because you think you can and you think you're the bad guy. So this kid, he steps back because I looked him right in the eye. And I said, so you're going to pick up this trash and you're going to be put on demerits. He grabbed his stuff. He had a little attitude, but he walked off, did what he had to do. I pulled aside, talked to Mr. I said, hey, man, sometimes, man, this playing the nice role is bad for everybody. And these people here can witness, you're not going to put hands, but you're not going to sit up here and let somebody jump on you. So check this out. That same kid, and here's what the manifestation was, Nick. No father at the home. He wants to be loved. He don't know how to be loved, so he want to do the bravado thing, right? I'm bad. I'm all, he had some talent too. Great basketball player, great football player, thinking he gonna go to the pros. One of the things we did when we first stepped on that camp, we asked them who they want to become. 90% of them, oh man, I'm playing in the NFL. I'm playing in the NBA. So you know me, I'm a finance guy. Take them in a little room, put the whiteboard up. You got a 1 out of 3 million opportunity to make it to the NFL, to make it to the NBA. You got a 1 out of 1 to become an engineer, to become a teacher, to become a doctor, to become a lawyer. How about we focus over here versus this fantasy? So now, as we get towards the end of the week, we start getting kids buying in. The tough kids start working everything, wanting to get them, medallions and everything. We get to the end of the week, bro. We had 10 spots to give away these special awards. We could only give out 5. Did y'all hear me, ladies and gentlemen? We could only give out 5 out of 30 kids because we did not bend the rules for them. We did not make concessions for them. We did not lower the standards. We checked them when they needed to be checked. Now, if that kid wouldn't have tried to put hands on Mr. Sherman, I wouldn't have talked to him that way. I would have talked to him a little bit nicer and kinder. But he needs to know that somebody's going to put hands on him. How many times we see kid at a young age get out of control and they get baby and pacified and no correction? Correct me if I'm wrong. So what does that teach them, Nick? You're an educator. What does that teach that kid that comes in your class, makes noise and everything, and you don't correct him or, punish him, be it demerits or send him to, the principal's office? What does that tell that kid?
Oh, it tells that kid that he can do it again and again, and then it sends a message to his peers that they can get away with doing the same thing too.
Absolutely. So knowing that, having been that kid before, I never put my hands on no teacher, never. But being that kid, want to clown and stuff in the back of the room, super smart, I'm just going to keep pushing and testing. Oh, I know you, and I know why I was doing it. Hey, my parents got divorced. Guess what? I see the kid with a mom and a dad. I want a mom and a dad. So I want to get what? Attention. I want to have love to say, hey, man, get your act going straight. So I already know that kid. I know this is a bluff. So we got 30 kids, ladies and gentlemen. We tell them we're giving out 10 awards. And the number 1 award, they're getting a trip to be a counselor for the next trip, all paid for. We get towards the end, we give out 5 awards. And we struggled to get 5. And I never forget this moment. That kid, after I corrected him like the second, third day, he became a model citizen, bro. But he had done so much bad stuff, even though he became a model citizen for like the last 3 days or what it was of the camp, he did not qualify for one of those 10 awards. Do you know that kid started bawling out, crying? He did not want to leave the camp. Mr. DJ, Mr. Sherman, I'll do anything to be an ambassador. This is the best way I've ever had somebody love on me and show me right attention. Hey, man, I appreciate what you're talking about, young man. Let's do better the next semester. He came in, he the big dog, clowning, wanted to try to clown, Mr. Sherman, because everybody looking around, he's the biggest kid. End of the week, he's bawling. That kid turned around, went back to school, never got in trouble again, Nick. Those 5 kids we gave awards to, they automatically became ambassadors for the next trip. Do you know that the next semester, we doubled our numbers? Because all they did, Nick, is go back and tell the other kids, man, this camp, we did this, we did that. Man, we learned this, we learned this, we learned about entrepreneurship, we learned this. Man, it's the place to be. And when you got the coolest kid shouting the most about it, who was the knucklehead, all the other kids fall right in line, bro. That's building an empire. You know why? Because we just staved off 30 kids going from the school to the pipeline prison. We just staved off, and we were able to get other business owners to come in and support the program that don't even look at them, because we said, look, if you're sitting up here and you are trying to be afraid of these kids, but what if you incorporate teaching them about loving themselves, loving the community? What do you think they're going to do in the community? Are they going to be a positive in the community or negative in the community? And financially, what would that look like for you? If they don't break into your establishment, you don't have to pay high deductibles. You don't have to worry about the safety of your person. But you know what it took, Nick? It took real men to stand on principle, brother. So my oldest son, like I said, was like 5 or 6. He's just looking around and he's doing all the stuff that these kids don't know because he's got a father. So now you got kids who are 8, 9, and 10 following the little 5, 6-year-old. Because you know what they want, ladies? They want dad. Instead of telling them, hey, you're bad. Hey, man, this is not activity and behavior that is representative of us. And if you can't do that, you're going to sit on the sideline. There ain't going to be no you shooting no hoop. There's not going to be no you playing no football. Because see, at this camp, we're not going to be, giving you any privilege because you got some special talent to shoot some damn basketball. That's that tough, solid love. And now you got kids that when my oldest son graduated and we used to go to these little programs, we saw a couple of kids that my son used to go to programs with me that I volunteered my time and my resources running up to, oh man, what's going on, RBD, man? It's good to see. Man, hey, how you doing, Mr. DJ? Graduating from college, Nick. Not just athletic scholarships, bro, but academic. So it's so important today that when you think about getting the bag, getting rich, think about getting the principles of success and accountability in raising a community of one, which is you, your family. Give them the right model to emulate through your actions, and that will spread out organically into the community. And now you can build a real empire. And now you will have favor where people want to give you business. Because the greatest thing that you should aspire to hear about your children, it doesn't matter if they're 1-year-old, 10-year-old, or 21-year-old. Hey, you know what? Your daughter is very obedient. Your son is very kind. Your daughter is very hardworking. Your son is very unselfish. Your daughter is always helping out here and there. And you know what? Your daughter always has a smile on her face. Your son is always joyful and a team player. But you know what we want to hear in the hood all the time? Oh man, he's so beautiful. She's so, talented. She can dance. Wow, man, he throws a beautiful spiral. My goodness, she's so fast. Wow, they're going to get us a state championship. And then when they step outside themselves because you over praised them and you didn't correct them when they did something just little, like they just showed up to class 5 minutes late because they were on their cell phone doing stupid stuff. And you didn't say, hey, I need that phone right here and I need to talk to you after class. Oh, Mr. Westbrooks, I was only 5 minutes late. You know the old saying, you give them an inch, they take a mile. So you have to train them how to treat you. And the bigger they are, you'll be surprised they're just kids. So these two scenarios could have been eliminated from the orientation at the parent-teachers meeting or the lack of. So this young man who should be in jail, who slapped that lady not once, but twice, open hand. Or just like Sakari Johnson or whatever her name is, blatantly lie in the airport she's attacking her boyfriend. And then said he attacked her. But you're so dumb that you don't realize you're in an airport where the eye in the sky misses nothing. But you know what? Oh, you're the fastest thing we ever seen. You're going to be a gold medal. You're going to be, because you come from a single parent household and your dad ain't been around, we're going to baby you. Instead of holding you more accountable because you got unparalleled talent. But we let you get away with the stuff. You go off, get high, blow an opportunity a few years ago. You made a minor correction because you were losing endorsements, but you got right back up. And like they say, you give somebody some money, all it does is magnify who they are. If they were a rambunctious, never been disciplined kid, they get a lot of money, they're going to be a bad, worse nightmare. And all that, Nick, was prevented when they were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And I hear you, ladies and gentlemen, before you even get it out of your mouth with that victim, woe is me, I came from a single parent household. My mother was divorced when I was like 6, 7 years of age. And my mother did not use those excuses like you are today. And we went from middle class to no class financially. We always had class because my mother told us to respect the name on back of the jersey as well. And my mother never criticized, condemned, or complained about our situation because my mother knew we were going to the top of the mountain. So when you making up your excuses, oh, I don't have a daddy at home. Oh, we gonna have this. Then how about you do better in your character? How about if you don't have a daddy at home? How about if you have a brother, or uncle, whatever, they make a better representation? Been there, done that. My only sibling, I have my sister, was married for several years, 2 children in marriage, got divorced, 2 young sons, absent father. Guess what? I stepped in the gap. I became the surrogate. I was single. I had no children. I put my work in, took them to church, took them to the job with me, taught them how to drive a car, taught them how to carry themselves. They say it takes a village to raise a child. How easily we get away from that stuff today. So in the process of this whole entire week, man, I was just thinking about all the things that we've been blessed with. There's another tip. When you do all the good things and do them the right way, you need to be a stand-up guy and a stand-up girl all the time and don't let your ego get too big. And what we need to do more of, Nick, is praise and reward the student, not the athlete. How about we have, a student banquet and applaud them and announce, hey, Andrea, she sits at the table with her parents or her single parent, and she shows Harvard, Stanford, Howard University. I'm going to Howard on a full scholarship, and it's all on ESPN. You know what? They did that with the spelling bee. How popular is the spelling bee? How quickly did one community take to the spelling bee and say, hey, this is our adulation moment to be superstars on national television where the nerds get revenge? Think about that. Why didn't our community step up to that? Oh, that ain't cool. But you know what? ain't cool. And you know what's corny, Nick? It's the laziness in the community where we're allowing ourselves the license to use the N word, the B word, the H word, and the A word like it's a regular form of language for us in everything we say and do. Just pure laziness. So as we're going through this week and we're looking at the stuff that's manifesting and the empire that's being built intrinsically the right way. Do we have hardships, ups and downs? Absolutely. But we're grateful because we know the best is yet to come. We know that if we abide by these empirical principles of success, we will yield its fruit. And we know when we come across a child, be it a boy or a girl, who happen to momentarily be in a not good situation with a single parent, what have you, we can intercede on their behalf and give back some of the blessings that we've gotten so that they can have a form of stability in the community. And we know that when we have our children who are born on third base, if we teach them, hey, you didn't make this stuff. You didn't earn this. This is our stuff. We're allowing you to benefit from our hard work. So don't you get the big head. And matter of fact, why don't you become a servant and you learn some humility at a young age? And all that together is the epitome in the envelope of the best representation of love, bro. And right now, we have to start standing on principle in this regard. And like the t-shirt says, man, nah, not all hood, baby. There's nothing wrong with the hood if the hood is acting like a village to raise a child the right way. So as you can see, once I get started, I don't stop talking. So what we're going to do, we're going to remind you, you're watching Family Finance Friday with Nick Westbrooks, DJ the Money Coach. Today's show is an important show, a man's role in building a business empire, raising children in love. So we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back after these words by us, for us, with us on F3. We'll see you right back after these messages. Find out everything. We're going to give you a master training, 3-hour course, 2 consultations. We're going to teach you how to build credit up to $100,000 interest-free for 18 months. Pay off your home in 7 to 10 years. And most importantly, create $8,333 a month. Passive income. It's a $997 course. You get it all today for $97. Hit that link and beat me to the master training.
Have you heard of the Pom Pom Suites at the Soul in Zanzibar? If not, let me put you on. It's located inside a dreamy residential resort right in the heart of Paje, close to all the best shops and restaurants. I spent 5 days and 4 nights and the vibe was immaculate. The property is lush, tropical, and so peaceful. And the lagoon-style pool, OMG, absolutely obsessed. Definitely a highlight. I love that it wasn't too deep, so I felt comfortable swimming, cooling off, relaxing, and just living my best Zanzibar life. Some days I grabbed freshly made mango juice from the bakery, which has pastries, coffee, tea, and a variety of options for lunch. And can we talk about the super cute welcome center? I couldn't get enough of the tropical chic decor, literally the perfect spot to chill and unwind. The Pom Pom Suites have tons of room options too, from cozy studios to spacious apartments. I stayed in a 1-bedroom unit and it was giving all the modern, stylish, and hella comfortable vibes. But the real MVP, my personal chef. Every morning, I got freshly made breakfast, eggs, sausage, fresh fruit, and one night she made a barbecue feast. We're talking grilled goat, pilau rice, fresh salad, and homemade juice. Let's just say I ate good. So if you're looking for a beautiful, relaxing, and unique stay in Zanzibar, Pom Pom Suites at the Soul Paje is it. Let me know in the comments if you would like to stay here, and I'll DM you all the deets.
All right, we're back.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're back, man. And yeah, man, we're excited. There's so much great things going on in the world right now. I think it's so important for us to focus on the positives. Understand a lot of times life is an ebb and a flow, and understanding what our purpose is. And as a man, your purpose is to, provide, protect, pastor. That's your job, pure and simple. And I would say, have patience as well. So if you're, in this role that you are now, starting new, starting over, you're enjoying, the fruits of your labor over decades and things of that nature, then you should, take inventory of what you should be grateful for. I think we don't do enough of that in terms of the gratitude. As we always say at the beginning of the show, if you have your health and you're alive, man, you should be very excited about no matter where you are. Because once the health is compromised, man, it's a wrap. So as we talk about, the building of a business empire, it's unfortunate that we don't always have to, but we make analogies and comparisons to the sports and entertainment world, because most of our children out here, their parents are inundating them with entertainment and cell phones and tablets, and they're not focusing, Nick, on having them read books and stuff like that and putting it down so they can become deep thinkers. We fall, prey to the predator, but we can't not play the victim role, because nobody is putting a, revolver in anybody's hand, putting it to their head and tell them you have to allow your child to be on IG, Twitch, Discord, YouTube. It used to be a time when kids got out of the house, believe it or not, and they did stuff. They played until the street lights came on, and of course they did everything, kickball, volleyball, baseball, basketball, football. They went to camp. There was no idea of them being controlled by some apparatus. And if we get away from that and have them put that stuff down and understand the value of you actually continue to read, there's one thing that you can do for your child. You want to know how to raise a child right? Put a book in his or her hand. Make that child write a book report. And more importantly, you participate with them. Don't be a hypocrite. So one of the things we did when I take my flights, man, digitally, but I take a book. I don't even have to tell my children to read a book, because guess what? They see me reading a book. And then I ask them, hey, put some, words to the paper. Then I ask them, hey, let me hear how that sounds to tell the story. These little things that you can do so quickly to go get them gym shoes, so quickly to put them in that AAU, that travel baseball. It never ceases to amaze, because you know what it is, Nick? For the people who have, it's laziness. They don't want to put that work in because they're chasing a materialistic way of life. One of the things I have gotten the greatest appreciation for is when I went to Zanzibar, understanding how important peace is, how important not having stuff. Knowing that all I need to do to have a great life is to have basic sustenance. Fresh food out of the ground, no GMOs, no pesticides, fresh fish out of the ocean, and doesn't even cost a lot. There's no need for me to be driving around in a Lambo. Not saying nothing wrong with it, but at the end of the day, I can go fast, real fast, but I can't do it all day. You get your 20,000 square foot house, you got a lot of rooms to clean. And a friend of mine told me they had $1,000 electricity bill. $1,000. I was like, what? $1,000? What are y'all doing? Oh, AC on 24/7. Not only is it on 24/7, Nick, it's on 65. So it's never shutting off. $1,000. Man, that's $12,000 a year. What could you do with that? You know what you could do? You could build an empire. Imagine if you spent $12,000 a year on utility bills, which you didn't have to do, and you got a 7% return, which means your money would double every 10 years. 12,000, ladies and gentlemen, times 10 years is $120,000. 7% return, that's $240,000. That'd probably pay your house off. Think about that. Think about when your child is seeing that every time y'all get a meal, y'all going out Chick-fil-A, Burger King, McDonald's, Jack in the Box. Not only are you spending a lot of money, but you also eating unhealthy. Another thing I did with my daughters when we went to Zanzibar. You know what? I said to my daughters in the nicest way. I said, hey, you know what? Man, remember when we used to play volleyball? When we used to play soccer? When we used to shoot a little basketball? I say, how about we start the day reading Proverbs? I'm reading it myself. Start with a prayer. How about we work out together for about 10 minutes? So I eased into that. The first 7-8 days, nothing. I didn't even introduce them. About the 8th, 9th day, I say, hey, man, we're going to be here for about 4.5, 5 weeks. How about we do this together as a family? We got up. Of course, the first day, oh, man, they didn't want to do it. Second day, they weren't too encouraged. Third day, a little bit, man, about the 4th, 5th day, they were getting up, Nick, doing their own thing. And typically, you know what happens when people go on vacation, they tend to put on pounds because they eating good, they laxing good, they're not working out. Guess what? My daughter slimmed down a little bit. Did we go out and eat at nice places a few times? Absolutely. But you know what we did majority of the time outside of the meals being served to us, which were healthy meals? We bought our own stuff because we stayed in 2 different locales and we cooked our own meals. And it actually became enjoyable. And remember how we used to do it? We all ate together. We all had a conversation at the dinner table, at the lunch table, at the breakfast table. We put the stupid phones and stuff down and we had a conversation. We actually looked each other in the eye. So we brought that back here, still implementing that right now. And I was looking at my daughters on what was it, Tuesday or Monday, and I was like, wow, man, you're getting a nice, chiseled jawbone again, and looking slim, starting to get a little, little muscle again. I was like, oh man, you know what? That was all free. And so now the confidence raised back up, already knocking the, ball out the park academically, started the new school year, which they did. Shout out to my daughters. They started school this week. And they're excited, man. So we get out the house, we go to the swimming pool, we go to the park, we ride the bikes. All this little stuff that we can do, and your children will start, appreciating this stuff versus just getting lazy and put one knees in their hand and putting some apps on there that you don't even have control over. And so as we are now, moving into a different phase of our lives, if you're, a person and you're starting a new family and things of that nature, man, it's so imperative and important to stay present. And I'm learning this, Nick, is that sometimes people call me a dictator. I don't try to be. I try to be a benevolent dictator if I am. But what I come to understand and what I come to learn is that, you know what? If I say, hey, let's go do this, and they be like, nah, hey, just go pick them up, ride them over, and just start doing stuff. And you'd be surprised at how they just adapt and start doing. That's one of the greatest things I could tell you. You should try to, do that, and then have a plan to, hey, we're going to hang out at such and such that time. We're going to do a couple of things, then they can get off and do their thing. Because even in the best, environments, your children, as they get older, they're going to want to spend more time with their friends. And that's natural because you want them to have good social abilities. But at the same time, you still want to make sure that you know what's going on in their world. That's very important. And you also, the other part is that they were able to see the business of business without me having to tell them about how business works. They saw how business works. And so they may not understand most of the stuff, but it is getting into their spirit, into their body. And as they get older, they're like, oh yeah, this is how you do this, because I've been around my dad doing that. Oh yeah, this is why it's important for me to own my creativity, have equity in everything that I do, because that's the only way you're supposed to live, to control and own yourself. That's natural. These are the things that we have to learn up our children. These are the things that will put the foundational pieces together to build the right empire. And then as a serendipity or a byproduct of success, the money will follow. And all this collectively, ladies and gentlemen, is a form of real love. That's the importance of it. I want you guys to like, share, and subscribe, and pass this on to somebody that needs real love, needs assistance in raising children the right way, instead of letting society raise them for them, and having accountability to their children, because they have to be taught self-respect. A child that's disobedient, that is violent, is a child that does not love him or herself. And that's a child that you have to be able to intercede in their life at an early age. And albeit there are situations, just like this young man, putting his hands on that lady, unfortunately, that can be turned into a positive long-term after he's held accountable for his actions. And you can be rest assured his mother and his grandmother are making some excuse for why he had open hand put his hands on that lady, which is assault and battery. And I remember this, Nick, in my neighborhood, probably about 6 years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago. Everybody, has, basketball rims and stuff like that. We have one as well, nice little portable we put in our out on our street where everybody can play. So we have a little kid across the street. His name at the time was Tyler. So Tyler, he likes to play ball, likes to play with the older cats. And my kids are not playing ball, but he said, hey, Mr. DJ, can I use your rim? Because he didn't have a rim. I said, yeah, man, as long as you ask me, you can get my rim and you can put it out in the street and you can ball on it. So I come home one day, man, and I see all these grown teenagers that I had never seen before, Nick. I see little Tyler over here. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you, ladies and gentlemen. Tyler was a white kid. But Tyler then got these brothers following to our house. Got my rim out in the street. And they dunking, throwing down. They get, the negative stereotype, right? I roll up. Man, it's about 10, 12 of them. Tyler's sitting on the curb. How about the car? Look, man, that's my rim over there. Okay. Put my car in the garage. came outside. Hey, man, y'all got to go. They looking at me like, again, oh, man, who are you talking to, boss? Oh, okay. Who I'm talking to? I said, hey, here's how this going to go down. You're going to leave or we're going to call the cops on you. So no, man, we ain't going nowhere. Hey, man, where you going? All right, dude, if you touch me, I'm going to put hands on you. I call the cops. Here it is. Tyler's parent. On my block, we got stay-at-home moms. All these women, they going to come down on me, Nick. Oh, why'd you call the cops on them? They wouldn't do anything wrong. Okay, let me look at the optics here. We live in a gated community. These kids don't live in the community. Tyler, for whatever reason, he's trying to get down and prove whatever he's trying to prove. He invites them over. What the big picture is, see, here's what you understand. It ain't about them playing basketball and using my rim and dissing Tyler to the curb. It's about, oh, this is an environment I can break into some houses. We ain't even thinking on that level. They not thinking on, but you better believe them boys thinking on that level. And it don't matter. They could have been white. They could have been Chinese. It'd have been the same daggone thing. So cops roll up. 2 white cops. One was a lady cop. Hey, you know what? Why don't we just get him a tap on the hand and let him go off into the sunset, Mr. DJ? No. We're not going to do that. No, you know what we're going to do? We're going to call their parents. We're going to get a warning, put it on, document it, because if they do it again, now it can turn and they will get the reward that they deserve to get. Because here's the thing, and I know what you're saying. Oh, man, you ain't right, man. Yep, because guess what? Those kids became that kid who smacked that lady in the face. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nick. You're an educator, are you not?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They had attitudes. And again, these were 2 white cops, black kids. They trying to tell me, oh, no, let's just tell them to disperse and go their way. No, I said, what's the least most effective thing we can do here to teach them a lesson? Well, we can get their names, give them a warning, and put them, technically into the system with a warning. You know how that works, Nick. You're driving a car.
Mm-hmm.
You get pulled over for speeding. They give you a warning. They fill out paperwork. They put it in the system.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, I asked them to leave. Nice. They didn't want to leave. Hey, man, I'm still dunking on your rim. Okay. So that right there tells me, here's the little boy. He's now afraid. Okay. Tell you what, I know this ain't your first rodeo taking somebody's stuff and using a little kid. So I got to put you in the system, baby. Because now these stay-at-home moms, when I'm not here, now they roll up. What you think they doing next? Oh, we coming in your house. If you don't think this is the right thing, in our community, Nick, we got a full, beautiful basketball court, shade and everything. Got so bad, we had to take down the basketball rims. Affluent community, bro. We're not talking about board. Had to take down the basketball courts, bro. Because the kids here, the kids who want to be cool. Oh, and I'm talking about, again, white, Asian, black, that come from 2-parent households. Hey man, I gotta prove I'm got street cred. I'm gonna walk around, drop my pants a little bit, and let the other cats come in and ball. And next thing we know, we got all these bad elements up at our basketball court, dude. We had to go in a special session, and I said, no, don't take the rims down. Just every time somebody come up here, ID, all of that, you'll put it, nip that in. And the kid who lives here, penalize the family. Of course, they don't want to do that because they PC. The best way to do this, let's take the rims down. So now, ruin it for the whole community, bro. But I go across the street to the other gated community, they still got their rims and stuff up because they instill some rules and some repercussion for actions. But see, you watching this and taking, oh man, you should, but guess what? When I was growing up, if you did what they did, you would have got your butt whooped by the person. You didn't have to worry about no cop coming up. But three stay-at-home mothers, they want to have a committee meeting about me doing that. So yeah, okay. And sure enough, 4 or 5 weeks later, oh, we got to take the rims down. Oh, yeah, we see DJ. Yeah, you were right. Yeah. Oh, there's a little bit of element over there because we got the little, we got a park. We got the rims, we got the park, we got the swimming pool, we got the volleyball. So now that's filtering over into that. You follow me? Did that happen again on my block? No, it didn't. We take the rim back out, everybody at peace. But now the full court, we spent all this money for HOA. We can't even go up there and ball now. Now it's turned into pickleball. But this is the moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen. So at first, they were all against what I did. But then when they saw that what happened, oh man, yeah, you were right. And here's the funny part. None of them live on this block anymore. But you know what? They knew that this block right here, real man, empire building. Nope, we didn't spend all this money to live in this gated community for some knuckleheads to come over here and, take advantage of a little kid. It's amazing how that happens because guess what? You know what the criminal element does very well? If I'm going to commit a crime, do I want to have a hard time committing a crime? Or do I want it to go easy and smooth without any problems where I can get that easy bag? The most vulnerable communities, Nick, what people don't realize is the ones that gated that people think that they can keep the doors unlocked and everything because they done made it. And you may be thinking, ladies and gentlemen, this has gone off the purpose of the show. A man's role in building a business empire and raising children in love. This is all included in the message. Because if I don't stand up for what's right, guess what? It all crumbles. Guess what? It costs us money. Guess what? We got to put in new system, cost us more money. Now we cause a safety concern for our children. My children can't go outside. Your children can't go outside. So then where's the real love at, Nick? Conversely, if you have a kid that's growing up and on third base and you keep applauding them and praising them and giving them everything, now ego out of control, overestimate what their value is, and they become privileged. You know what happens to those kids eventually when they don't get what they haven't earned? They turn against what? Their parents. They turn against the system. They crash up things, tear up things. We see it all the time. So we're going to take this one last break because this is important. it's very important for you as a man to take ownership and accountability over your empire. And you know what your empire is? It's that one right in your house. You know how you raise your children right? Show them, then tell them. You know what real love is? Demonstrating work, accountability, patience, expectations, and knowing how to steward them, even if you didn't get that when you were a child. Abraham Lincoln says you can learn two things from people: what to do, what not to do. Just that simple. You're watching Family Finance Friday with my man Nick Westbrooks and yours truly, DJ the Money Coach. And a man's role in building a business empire is raising children and love, and no better time in the world to stand 10 toes down and manifest that through your actions and not your words. So we'll be right back after this word from us, with us, for us. And do us a favor. It's free, just like air. Like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you right back after these words from us.
Toledo Organic Tequila is so crisp, so incredibly smooth, it's simply in a category by itself. This is luxury. Life tastes better naturally, so should your tequila. This is Toledo. Enjoy responsibly. Visit ToledoTequila.com to get your bottle of Toledo Organic Tequila. Get a 10% discount on DJ the Money Coach by entering promo code MONEY at checkout. Again, that's ToledoTequila.com, promo code MONEY to get 10% off your Toledo purchase.
You ever wondered what it feels like to disconnect from the world and just live in paradise? Here we go. This is our property in Zanzibar, Tanzania, one of the most exotic and coveted locations in the world, full of one of the last places you can actually eat, drink, and consume organically. At our lovely reception area. And take a look at the landscape and all of the real plants, trees, fruits, and vegetables, and everything you need to live a happy life. So here at Escape to Zanzibar, we help you escape to paradise and bliss and peace, to reset and redirect where you want your life to go. So hey, don't just take my word for it. Come experience it yourself. I'll see you soon.
All right. And we're back to close out this Family Finance Friday on a man's role in building a business empire, raising children and love. So I'll turn it back over to you, DJ.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nick. And again, man, we appreciate everybody who watches our shows. We especially are more attentive on providing high character, high integrity, high family oriented financial shows, because we want to be the beacon and the light that stands the brightest during these dark times that we're in. And when I say dark times, I mean the oversaturation of social media that's taking a left right off the cliff. So we want to be that light that you can see, from the lighthouse or from the tower as the plane needs to find that, guidance. When it's the darkest, we want to be the one that stands 10 toes down to give you the righteous message and not fall into the sheep herd mentality. And the only way you can do that, men, you have to be free. You have to put that work in. And here's the great thing about it. Even if you're starting right now today, 100,000, 200,000, $1 million in debt, credit score jacked up, as long as you got your health with a plan, and a team and a dream, and you're willing to implement this 4x4. First one, 4 dirty little words: discipline, accountability, persistently pursue your plan. Plug into the system and go to work, not for 2 to 5 hours, not for 2 to 5 days, not for 2 to 5 weeks, not for 2 to 5 months, but 2 to 5 years. And then you take that and put the 4 dirty little words side by side with the 4 P's: professionalism, persistently pursue your plan, persevere through the ups and the downs, keep moving forward. And when the lights shine the brightest, perform. You can overcome anything. And then you will start to receive the, byproducts of success, which is the stuff people call luck, but there's no such thing as luck. When you're working intentively, with discipline, with a plan, God opens up doors for you, especially when you treat people with the platinum rule. What's the platinum rule? Real simple. I always like to give this quick example. I've got $50,000 and Nick tells me what's his favorite car. Nick, what's your favorite car that I can buy you for $50,000?
I know we used this example before, and I forgot what example I used last time. $50,000. Man, what car costs $50,000?
Well, that good pre-driven one that we're gonna get you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah. These days, yeah, definitely pre-driven.
Or that lease. Or we can get that lease.
Yeah.
What car I'm buying you? Because they may change. What car I'm buying you for $50,000?
Yeah, I got to think about what car costs $50,000. Do what? Do Lexus cost $50,000?
Oh yeah, we can get a Lexus for $50,000. You want
all right, let's go.
Sedan, or you going with the sports coupe?
The sedan.
All right.
Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, so Nick wants the $50,000 Lexus sedan. Now, I'm a Genesis guy, right? So I want to get a Genesis for Nick for the $50,000. The Genesis is a great car. Nick's going to be thrilled about it. I roll up, give him the Genesis. But Nick's not going to be enthralled and overly excited because I didn't get him the Lexus. So the platinum rule is that I actually buy Nick what he asked me to buy him with the $50,000 I was going to give him. The golden rule, ladies and gentlemen, is I did unto Nick the way I wanted to do unto myself. Y'all got that? So the platinum rule is exceeding the golden rule. The golden rule is great, but the platinum rule is godly. Ooh, man. I don't know, man. I think that might have been some bars. The golden rule is great, but the platinum rule is godly. So it's important that in order to build something, and if you're coming from a negative and you have your health and you're above ground, everything is overcomable. I have a great friend that when we started the 3 Steps to Success in 2007, where we taught financial education, getting out of debt. Then we taught people how to get out of debt, take that extra $700,000, $800,000, and $10,000, $20,000 and buy their first real estate property. Then we taught those people that accumulate 5, 6, 7 of those how to get into commercial real estate. My partner that handled the commercial real estate, he actually accumulated a huge portfolio, and then the market crashed with the Great Depression. In 2008, he had about $3.5 million in debt. He could have BK'd, bankruptcy, threw his problems onto society like Trump does. And it was legal, but you know what? He was a man of character. He went back to his corporate job after he had retired through real estate, and within 5 years, he paid off all his debt. Not only that, but 7 years later, almost 12 years, he became a 7-figure income earner through business and dividend stocks. But you know what the one key thing he had? He had his health. He had accountability to himself. And he had discipline to straighten up and go the right way. But see, most of you would have filed BK, dumped the problems on society, and take the back road out. I, too, at one point in time, 525 credit score, $60,000 in consumable debt and student loans. Could have went BK, but you know what I did? I read a chapter in a book by Susie Orman called The Road to Wealth, just about personal credit. I turned around, ladies and gentlemen, and I knocked down them $60,000 in course of, I think it was 4 years or something like that. Got my credit score in the analog world, ladies and gentlemen. The internet was not even a thought process or just beginning. This one you had to do it manually. Took my 525 analog to 700 in 12 months. In 24 months, took it to 800. Have not looked back. Man, I'm embarrassed to say. Embarrassment of riches. I'm 847 out of 850 now. By the time 2002 rolled over, ladies and gentlemen, I had paid off all my debt. 6 years later, 2008. Did I say 6 weeks later? Did I say 6 months later? I said 6 years later. It was from 96 to 2002 that I knocked down all the debt. From 2002, having knocked down all the debt, to 2008, I created a 7-figure net worth and a 6-figure income by just incrementally doing what Robert Kiyosaki taught us, what John C. Maxwell taught us, what Carlton Sheets taught us, Russ Whitney. And then I created my own system. And over the past 20, 25 years, helped hundreds of people become financially independent. What is financial independence? Financial independence in the course of building a business empire is actually taking my reoccurring expenses, ladies and gentlemen, building a business, which first was a cleaning business, and taking the top line dollar in revenue and buying real estate, and then leveraging the tax laws. And then, just like a mutual fund, I started buying 1 to 2 properties per year, playing the long game, and built up a portfolio. And then when that portfolio got to, let's say, $1,000 and my reoccurring expenses was $1,000 and I had paid off all my debt, I was financially independent through passive income. I wasn't wealthy, but I was financially independent. And then to get my freedom, I doubled my passive income over my recurring expenses. And from that moment on, I achieved the pom-pom lifestyle, which is plenty of money and peace of mind, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't say I made $1 million a year. I doubled. I got myself to over $8,333 a month in passive income, which equates to $100,000 a year in income. And I had no discernible debt. Zero. Car paid off. House dang near paid off. Roth fully funded. Children's education funded. 2 vacations plus 2 family vacations. So 4 a year. And you know what? Amazingly so, ladies and gentlemen, even today, if you achieve debt freedom and you can get to $8,833 a month in passive income, and for inflation, we top it up to $10,000, you can live like a millionaire anywhere in the world if you live in moderation. We've helped thousands of people become consumer debt free, pay off their cars, pay off their homes since 2002. That's not a lot of people. But if you think about it in terms of building a business empire, we've created a legacy for our children, because guess what? Our children, no debt, graduated from college, learned at age 4 or 5 years of age to go and speak up on stage and talk about entrepreneurship. So it got ingrained in them, like the Steph Curry effect. What's the Steph Curry effect? Steph Curry's dad was Dale Curry. Dale Curry was a super sharp three-point shooter in the NBA for about 10, 12 years. Steph and Seth came out of the womb with all the talent they will ever have and all the intelligence they ever have. And all their dad did was put them around the big boy players since they were 4 or 5 years of age and got them comfortable being around them so they're not intimidated, and helped form their shots and their playmaking skills over 10,000 hours. And they became who they are. Guess what I did with our children? Same thing. Put my son in an environment that's conducive to sharpen his skills at a young age. Put my son in an environment where he doesn't feel intimidated by an adult because he's playing at the same game they're playing. Put my daughters in and around speaking, taking them to expos, Nick. Taking my daughters when they were 10 and 7 to the expos that I'm working to make a living to take care of them, and having them go into the booths and canvassing, talking to people, collecting leads. Taking the crusher and having him compete against a sales rep that's 25 years of age and he's kicking the floor with her butt. He's getting paid $1 a lead. He comes back the second day, he's got 400-500 leads. Qualified leads, ladies and gentlemen. Because guess what? If your child is smart enough to learn how to play the violin, smart enough to learn how to play chess at age 4 or 5, what else you think they smart enough to learn about? Money. Because here's the thing, you don't have to believe this or not, but however, these things I know. You only come into this world innately with the fear of loud sounds, the fear of falling, and they tell us the fear of public speaking. Everything else is learned. So when I learned from Robert Kiyosaki, I learned from Jen Collins what the hedgehog concept was. And I learned from John C. Maxwell and Miles Monroe what leadership was. I said, this is the secret. This is the secret. And this is how I figured it out, Nick. Check this out. Visualization. When I was a young kid and I was 5, 6 years of age, my family were big time bowlers. Bowling was huge in the Black community. You would think that no Black people bowl across the country because every time you turn on ESPN, the bowlers are all white or European. Bowling is huge in the Black community. We used to go to the bowling alley 3 times a week. Why am I bringing this up? To drill home. At 4, 5, 6 years of age, I had a bowling ball in my hand. And I became sort of a child prodigy as a bowler. However, I didn't know the principles that were making me a great bowler. You know what I used to do? Because we could barely afford the bowling. I used to go upstairs in my attic, Nick, and I had them little plastic bowling pins. And I used to take the ball and I would bowl a game and write down a score. I'm going to bowl a 200. I'm a bowler 300. And I was incorporating visualization, planning, even though I didn't get on the real lane because could only afford to bowl that once or twice in the school league and the league. I didn't have the money to do a lot of practicing. But I was actually practicing, Nick, mentally upstairs in my attic every day, bro. And when I got to be like 25 years of age, I realized how I had achieved most of my success. Because I went on 8, 9 years of age, bowling 200s, 12, 13, bowling 240s. Won a championship for my high school team, first time ever in the history of the school. I don't even think they won 1 cent. And I realized I was incorporating visualization. I was incorporating planned, disciplined approach to practice. And when I galvanized that and realized I had learned the secret that was explained to me by Robert Kiyosaki, explained to me by Jim Collins from Good to Great, and shown what leadership, I had the playbook, brother, to give that to my children. I don't think y'all heard me. I had the playbook to give that to my children and planned each and every one of my children. So the expectation, the 10,000 hours, and the dream becomes a reality because I know what they don't know and how to get them there. This is the reason, Nick, why now there's more professional athletes, children, making it to the pros than ever before. It used to be an anomaly if a professional athlete child made it to the pros. Now it is the standard because they got all the resources. They know exactly what it needs to be a professional. And guess what? They chose the proper spouse to have the gene pool one. So almost nowadays, it will be, wow, you're a professional athlete that's successful and your kid's not? Because you already got the playbook and you got the gene pool and you got the resources. So this is how we can level up, ladies and gentlemen. The one great thing about technology is the information era that we're in, and now the digital. So you can take the positive information and take your child out of abject poverty and turn him and her into whomever God gave them the talent and the intelligence and nurture out a great life. 1 out of 1, Nick. You can create a world master grand chess player, a virtuoso pianist, a rocket scientist, basketball champion, baseball, hockey, or soccer with anybody, no matter where they start from. This is how you raise children in today's world and take away all those stupid excuses. And you can prevent the child that abuses the teacher or the knucklehead who jumps on her boyfriend in the airport and lies about it, but ain't smart enough to realize that the eye in the sky saw everything. Because if the eye in the sky wasn't there, they would accuse that man and would have ruined his life. And this narrative, ladies and gentlemen, works across all race, colors, and creeds. So I don't discriminate. So you want to know what the man's role in building a business and an empire and raising children the right way is with love, baby. Love. Live. Occupy. Vision. And expect them to live to your standards and not theirs. That's what love means. You're watching Family Finance Friday, what we affectionately now call F to the Q Power, baby. With DJ the Money Coach and Nick Westbrooks. We definitely appreciate you joining our show. And you can do us a solid. Like, share, subscribe. Guess what? Here's the beauty of it. Don't need your money. This here is our give back to the community, because it takes a village to raise a child right. And as my shirt says, nah, not all hood, baby. We're not a monolith. And ain't nothing wrong with the hood when the hood is done right. Let's create a brotherhood and a sisterhood. And let's get down the road to that pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money and peace of mind. Come join us on the Beaches of the World Club. And today's beach is how a man's role in building a business empire, raising children with LOVE. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Find out everything. We're going to give you a master training, 3-hour course, 2 consultations. We're going to teach you how to build credit up to $100,000 interest-free for 18 months. Pay off your home in 7 to 10 years. And most importantly, create $8,333 a month. Passive income. It's a $997 course. You get it all today for $97. Hit that link and beat me to the master training.
See this personal driver? He came and picked me up and brought me all the way to the Pom Pom Suites in Zanzibar. And let me tell you about this place. This is tucked away in Paje, which is on the other side of the island. And honestly, I felt at peace. The design, it was giving African all over, and I absolutely love it. They even had staff and a private chef that made food for us. Now, the property itself, a whole vibe. From here, we were on the roof and you can actually see the lagoon and the view. But let me talk about this lobby and what they have to offer. First of all, they have a cafe. You know, I love me a matcha and a coffee, okay? There's low-key so many corners to work from. So if you work remote like me, baby, you don't have to worry about where you're gonna find quiet time, okay? And honestly, my favorite part of the property is the lagoon because, baby, you know I love some water, and I was able to journal because it was quiet. I love it.